Well, you've been at it for a while, and now it's time to move on and up. I'm going to show you how to do that. Trucking is one of those businesses to where after your first job, people rarely stay at their first job for more than a year or so, unless they really like it, or they'll stay there until it's time to make a change, move in a different direction, or move on and up. It's just the natural order of things. In truck driving, your first job is usually the catalyst to get you going in your career, or you'll just decide that this lifestyle is not for you. And that's what it is. It's not so much a job as it is a lifestyle. It sounds a little goofy to say that, but I tell a lot of people that if you look at it as a 9-to-5 or job, or you look at it as a regular just job, you're going to hate every minute of it. So you kind of have to embrace the suck, because there's times it's going to suck, like the load I'm going to be on here shortly. But it pays good, and you move on and up, and that's what we do. So now that it's time to find your next job, how are you going to look for it? Because you're going to be looking for your next job a whole lot differently than you found your first. So let's get to that. Now, when you went and found your first job, chances are, if you were going through a school, you had recruiters show up and they gave you the spiel. As I said in a previous video, they tried to sell you that 25-year-old Buick, saying that it's been rebuilt and it's good as new. And you're a little wiser now. So the difference is now, there's no recruiters, there's no driving school. You've done well, but you've decided it's time to move on. So now that there's no recruiters and there's no people knocking down your door, what do? If you go online, you know your spam folder's just gonna fill up. And sometimes that's the price we pay. I found a job like that when I'd gotten off the road probably 12, 13 years ago. I was looking for a job, so I went ahead and filled out an online thing and mailed a few things, and holy crap, my phone started exploding. I started getting recruiters, automated calls, just spam, and all sorts of thousands of them. A lot of us really want to avoid that, but when you're looking for your next job, sometimes that's what you have to go through. Now, just like when you were looking for your first job and I showed you all those pamphlets, that's kind of what you're going to be doing this time, but with a twist. And the twist is, you have a better idea of what you want, what you're looking for, and the kind of benefits and stuff that you're looking for to make your next job more profitable and better for you and your family than the first job. The first thing you have to do is choose a path, and this is where a lot of people get conflicted. If you're comfortable hauling the kind of freight that you're normally hauling, by all means. But if you're not comfortable with it and you're wanting to try something else, now's the time. You know, I haul van, but I didn't always haul van. I have hauled grain hopper. I've hauled automotive, car carriers. I was an auto transporter for a while. That was interesting. I've also done flatbed. I did hazmat. I've hauled tanks. And I never really wanted to haul refrigerated. So I went to work for a dry van company that was bought out by a reefer company, and I've been hauling reefers for about 15 years now. That's just kind of where I settled in. But you have to choose a path. Is this what you want? So if you're hauling van and you don't want to haul van anymore, and you're like, I would like to try flatbed, now's the time. So you have to pick a particular company from a whole multitude of companies. Now, there's many different ways to do that. Now, a lot of guys will argue with me on this, and I'm fine with that. This is what I've seen. But if you go local, you're going to be working hourly. And that hourly wage starting is going to be fairly small. Even with a big company, big expedite company, XPO, USPS, FedEx, all those companies have such a long waiting list that everybody has to wait their turn for a lane to open up or things of that nature. So a lot of the work beginning for the first few years with a few of these companies, the first few years it's tough. You're going to be making a good wage, but you might only be working between 15 to 20 hours a week. And you're going to have a part-time job on top of that, or another source of income. So that's something to think about. Now, a lot of these expedite jobs that are ready, that you can jump right into, a lot of times you can understand why they're always hiring. You look at their equipment, you look at where they go, you look at the guys that drive for them, and you look at what they pay. And for a lot of these companies like that, if they only want to pay you $8, $9, $10 an hour, that's ridiculous. There's a reason why these companies are always having turnover. It's either a place where your driving record is to the point where this is the only job you can get, or you're kind of stuck due to your home situation, or you're just trying to get cleaned up to go to a better job. And this is something you need to keep in mind when working local. But if you want to go back over the road, a lot of the same rules do apply. So that's something you need to think. You're going to have a good idea what you're looking for. And let's talk about that. So when you start looking for over-the-road companies, a lot of people talk, no, I just want to go work for a small company. I don't want a big mega company. And I can understand that. But there's pros and cons. A small company can't offer you a lot of things the mega company has. On the other side of the flip coin, the mega company, chances are you're just going to be a number. But these are things you have to consider. Do you need health insurance? With a mega company, chances are the health insurance is going to be a whole lot cheaper. Do you want a 401k? Do you want, certain benefits that you're going to need that maybe only a mega company can offer? These are important questions to ask. What's it going to pay? What are my bonuses going to be like? What kind of equipment am I going to drive? And equipment will tell a lot about a company. Now let me clarify that last statement. Equipment will tell a lot about the company. How it's maintained, how it's cleaned, how the drivers look driving it, what the general attitude of the driver is, who's taking care of that equipment. Now, mind you, every company's going to have their prima donnas and every company's going to have their scumbags. Just goes with the territory. But if you notice a company have a disproportionate amount of scumbags, that's probably a company you don't want to be involved in. Likewise, if you see a company with the fanciest equipment known to man, there's a good chance they're not making as much money as you think they are. It's been my experience, and I'm sure people will argue with me on this, that the fancier the equipment, if it's all decked out and chromed and owner-operator spec'd out and all that for company drivers, my experience talking to these drivers has been that they pay to drive that equipment. And when I say that, they take a cut in wages to drive nice trucks. It's nice to drive nice trucks, but if you're a company driver, that ratty Freightliner is going to pull the same trailer. It's going to take the same load, and for an extra 3 to 4 cents a mile, I'll drive a Cascadia over a Kenworth any day, because it's not your truck, and you're here to make money. You're not here for a beauty contest. That comes later. During your tenure with your first job, you're going to make some friends, and you're going to watch them come and go, and they're going to go to other companies, and there's going to be a lot of referral. I still talk to a lot of guys at my last company, and then a lot of those guys have moved on to other companies. So if I wanted a good referral and they were doing something that I was interested in, that's one way. Call them up and say, hey, what do you like about it? What are you doing? And chances are you guys have talked enough to where you'll pretty much have a really good idea of what they're making and what they're doing and what their day-to-day things are. Now, you need to decide at this point, do you want to be home every night but still drive truck, or do you want to be over the road? Because there's a vast difference. Now, as I've talked, some of the better jobs that you can get are usually done through referral. And, you know, you can help a buddy out if there's a referral bonus. But if you don't have a referral and you don't know what to do, look, these right here, these magazines, they're fun to read. They're fun to read. They have a little information, but the only thing these things really have for you are contact numbers. Just give them a call, look on their website, see what they offer. And after a while, if you do your job search for a little while, you'll start getting a feel for these. You'll start seeing a common theme, a standard thread, and a little things will make sense, and you'll be able to determine what's BS, what's maybe BS, and what they're being straight about. And you're probably going to go about 40-60 either way on either of those, depending on the day. So these right here, if you don't have referrals or if you're looking for something different, are not a bad way to get some contact information. But as we went through another video before, these right here, they tell you nothing. So that's just a little info on that. I've touched on a few things here and there, and one thing employers don't like is job hoppers. Now, you might have one or two jobs in a row, but generally employers like to see consistency, you know, from job to job. From watching several of my friends that have done nothing but hop from job to job to job, it starts out, they think they're making more money, but it starts out being a lateral move, and then eventually it's just a slow decline to the bottom, because after you hit 4 or 5 jobs in a year, people don't want to hire you. They don't want to invest in you. So you need to have a little consistency where you're at. You know, if you have a job and it didn't work out after a month or two and you went to another job, but you were there a year or two, people are gonna say, well, what happened at this job? Well, and you can just explain to them, it just didn't work out. Another thing that I see happening, and there's another thing guys will argue with me about, is as a company driver getting paid a wage, don't work for a 1099. I don't even know if that's legal, but people do it all the time, and I'm not here to dispense legal advice, whether it's legal or illegal. Whether it's legal or not, people do it. But when you work for a 1099, these guys are paying you basically a flat rate, and they're pocketing the difference, and they're not paying your tax burden. So that's something else you have to worry about. You have to pay all your own taxes. And if you sit there and do the math, you're going to realize this guy's screwing you. So as a company driver, get a job working for mileage, good mileage, loaded, empty, tolls paid, all that. And don't work for a 1099. It's no workman's comp, no benefits, no nothing. You got, and chances are you're going to be working for some kind of guy who is a faux outlaw, and it's going to end up biting you. It bites everybody that I've known that have done it. So just be mindful of that. But you're going to have to quit your job before you take a new job, and that's what I really wanted to talk to you about. I know this video is a little longer than I thought it would be, and I'm going to wind it up here in a couple of minutes. But when you quit your job, be professional. If you can, give it 2 weeks. Work that 2 weeks. Turn in the equipment clean and proper and prompt. Do everything right. Because if the job wasn't bad, it just didn't work out, you never know. It may come a day where you might need these people. And you might need their reference regardless. If you abandon the truck, if you break anything, if you screw anything up, it goes on your deck. Other employers read that. So when it comes time to leave your job, be professional. It'll pay for itself in the long run. So that's just something to be in mind. Now, I'll say this. I did work for a job one time. There are exceptions where the employer, if he knew you were going to quit, and he had a little beef with you, he'd fire you. He'd just fire you right on the bat. And I saw one guy get fired in Ohio, had the police come out, confiscate the truck, left him on the side of the road with his crap. That's not a joke. I watched it happen 2 or 3 times with this employer, and he was ruthless. So if you get hired on with someone who you know is ruthless, be very discreet. Do everything properly to the T, to the letter. Log it all the way into the yard. Make sure the truck is clean, proper, your fuel cards are turned in. Make sure he has no recourse to come back anything on you. Do things properly. And that's what I had to do. I made sure the truck was clean, swept out, armor-alled it, turned it in on a Sunday with the fuel cards, the keys, the whole ordeal, because I know if I'd put in a 2 weeks notice, he would have fired me and I would have had to find my own way home. So it's something to be mindful of. But if you're going to quit, and possible, be professional, do it properly, and your record will thank you for it. As I close this video, I just want to apologize for being a little choppy and all that. I've been doing it on the road. I've filmed over, I started this video in South Dakota. I filmed a little in Missouri. I'm in West Memphis right now. But the jobs are out there. I mean, look. I'm staring out my window right now, and there's 30 to 40 companies. I mean, just right here. There's 5 companies right there. There's a company right here. There's a company right here. You know, there's a Swift truck. There's probably 100 different companies in this truck stop. Every one of these companies is hiring, and they might have exactly what you need or be exactly what you want. It's important to know what you want. That's why I talked about all these different things, but in the end of the day, what is going to work the best for you? And you might have to go through a company or two to figure that out. That's why after your first year, you figure it out. You have a better idea. You're going to know what to look for, and you're going to be a little more street smart. So I hope this video has been helpful. I know I didn't go in all that deep with a few things. Some of that was by design because I want people to make up their own mind, and some of that was I didn't want to be misconstrued. Is that the right word? I didn't want to be I didn't want people to take what I said the wrong way, because this is your future. This is your employment. So good luck. I hope you figure out what you want, and I hope trucking works out for you, or if it doesn't work out for you, I hope your next endeavor is just as fruitful. So I appreciate you watching. I hope you like and subscribe, and we'll see you next video. Thanks a lot.